to have you join us here today. And we're going to talk about how you unlock future growth by running the market leader in Belgium. So come on over to the couch. Okay, excellent. So Piet, thank you very much for taking the time and really sharing your experiences. Can we start? I'd like to start the same way, right? Like a bit of your background, where do you come from, what's your experience, and why did you get involved with Immoweb?
Yeah, I got involved with Immoweb only 1.5 years ago. Prior to that, I've spent 21 years in classifieds, but in the job industry. Okay. So the same, but then with a very different color and very different evolutions as well. It was at Stepstone, so part of the Axel Springer family already, so just like Immoweb and the entire AVIV Group. And I toured around Europe for those 20 years, so it was not like one job for 20 years, but 6, 7 different experiences in the Netherlands, Germany, France, Belgium, so really traveling around. And actually, a very interesting experience, which made me also think about this event, is the creation of the network back in 2002, with the main job portal players all around the world, as an answer to Monster actually. So by the end of 2001, Stepstone had to shut down the lights in 6 or 7 countries. And instead of just only focusing on those countries, we created together with Total Jobs at that time, the network. And that became a great story of sharing experiences, sharing stories, best practices from all around the world. So this is really very similar.
Okay, so then you joined Immoweb, and we've had Christoph as a long time attendee. In fact, I think he was at the first one of these back in 2009. So he's shared experiences as the I guess the previous sole owner of Immoweb and growing the business. You come into Immoweb, right? Market leader in Belgium, but you're coming from a jobs perspective. What are the immediate opportunities and challenges that you see in that business?
Well, the shocking bit is like you've, and I might be a bit rude. I hope I'm not too rude, but you are kind of pushed back a few years back, like maybe even 10 years back, in the non-digitalization of the agent's life. So I think the main opportunity is to go even deeper, even quicker, even smoother, because the experience of a real estate seeker is still tough. Yeah? It's still, there's a lot of blocks on the road, there's lots of hurdles. It's not smooth at all. So we can go even deeper in making sure that the relation is made quicker, better. The entire experience is not yet optimized. And it's a role for all actors. I think we discussed the comparison between CRMs and ATSs, I think, and the usage of those mainly as well.
ATS?
Application tracking systems. Okay. So it's the CRM of the job world, used by any corporate, big or small recruiter. And agents have CRMs, but they use, I have no official percentage, but I think like 20% of the potential. So they're not there yet. And it's up to us to educate them, to get them there, and to help them.
But is that a function of, it can be one of a couple of things, right? The CRM systems just aren't built well enough to what they could be. 2, they're hard to use. Or 3, the industry just doesn't know how to use it, want to use it. Where do you think it sits in that spectrum?
I saw the Belgian ones, and there was a huge difference between the quality of the different CRMs, but basically what they would need to run their daily life is in there. It's there. So it's definitely more about education, about the education of agents, who that roles is that all roles, the CRM roles, to be discussed. But it's really about getting them to use all the digital tooling of today and just make that jump of not being scared about it anymore. I mean, they're scared about many things.
So what else, when you come from the jobs world and you look at the real estate world, do you see, is there stuff around data? Is it around how people interact with the site? What is it that you what else do you see as an opportunity?
Commercial models are very different. Yeah, we mentioned Indeed was a pay-per-click, so yes, there was a lot more pay-per-performance in the job world compared to the real estate world. And actually the valuation of our services in the real estate world is unfortunately not like in the job world. So even though Indeed moved the market a bit around, job portals, more classical job portals, so Post and Pray, they charge on certain markets up to 1,000, 1,300 euro for one listing 1 month. A real estate agent complains when he's got to pay 40, 50 euro for 4 months or per month for 4 months. So the discrepancy is huge. So the added value we are bringing as platforms has not been recognized, I think, at its wide level. But that's probably 20, 25 years ago. At some stage when it went from paper to online, something went wrong for real estate, I believe.
So there's a missed opportunity to price it at the right value.
Yeah. And I'm not saying it should be the same price, I don't know, but it's really very much underestimated.
But is that a function of, in the employment industry, you're dealing with corporations who've got very clear financial incentives, you've got people in the HR department who've got a budget, everything's like organized and structured, versus real estate where many of your clients, many of your customers are salespeople.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah.
Is that the core driver here?
The structure of the market is very different, extremely different, and with our larger customers, where there is a real marketing and purchasing department and they look into it, they will definitely recognize the efforts and what the gain is to play with the leading portals. And with the smaller agents, there is this permanent short-term cash management more than a long-term investment planning and return on investment analysis. But so the structure of the market is very different. It are relatively small markets. It's just a part of the industry, the overall industry. But even in the job market area, you would have niche sites. And these niche sites are also only focusing on a certain part of the full market. Mm-hmm. And the commercialization of their services there again is still much higher than whatever we can get from all this classical business.
Okay, so then let's move into Immoweb. Immoweb's market leader in Belgium, I think, has been for like 100 years. So it's very, very entrenched in the psyche and is very, very well used by all the agents. How do you think about, well, first of all, is your monetization model at the moment primarily the advertising model and just extracting ad revenues from developers, agents, rentals, and so on?
Yeah, still by far. So it's the biggest proportion, about 80% of the full total revenue is coming from the core business, so classifieds and visibility services. So yes, that's up to now the main revenue stream. Yeah.
So you sat through yesterday, you heard a lot about transactions, you heard a lot about enhancing data and scoring and so on. When you think about that, how do you think about opportunities for the Immoweb business?
Yeah, we are in the middle of it right now. So we launched the seller offering as qualified appointments this summer. So Immoweb has been into the seller visibility part, sending out leads on a digital way, already active for about 2 years, successfully. Good growth, huge pushback in the beginning. Again, Immoweb is taking the market, Immoweb is taking everything away. And actually, meanwhile, several hundreds of customers are using the seller visibility products. And this summer, we launched the qualified seller appointment business, so really getting these.
What's the difference? What's a seller visibility product versus the appointment product I get, right? But the visibility, but what's the difference?
It's just positioning the agents on the right spot on the site, on the price map, and the estimation funnel at the right moment, so that he can be contacted directly via the website for an appointment, a likelihood appointment, so with an owner. The qualified seller appointment is really, we have now a team of 7 since July, calling owners that have not selected agents, and they are doing outbound phone calls. We had just checked more than 5,000 outbound phone calls.
So these are the private sellers?
These are the private sellers.
How do you find them?
Well, these also come to the site. These are the private sellers that
They put their own ad up.
Some actually are not actively tapping into that one yet. That's for Q4. But those are all those that go into the estimation funnel but that have not selected agents. And not for a small country like Belgium, so we're already at 5,000 in 4 months' time. And actually we will probably reach our 1,000th appointment this week. So I think it's massive. It's really quick. And it was the right thing to do because of the position of Immoweb. So we can really, really help the agents getting more appointments, quick appointments. Again, smoothing this track on from thinking about selling until really selling, going to the transaction.
What you're really doing, though, is you're running the CRM system for them, in some ways. There's elements of that system, the bookings, maybe lead qualification over time.
No. So actually we are, so once we have the owners on the phone, they are reassured, because the first reaction is, oh, no, you're not an agent. No, we're not, but we're going to help you choosing the right agent. Okay. And actually afterwards, the lead goes straight to the agent who puts it into his CRM. So we're not, they are using their tech to go.
And how much do you charge for that? How do you make money out of this booking service?
Yeah, so the model is on transaction. So we will charge between 0.5 and 0.6% of the transaction value, so the real estate value.
What's the average commission?
The average commission in Belgium, we estimate it to between 2.2 and 2.4.
So you charge maybe up to a quarter?
Up to a quarter, yeah.
Okay. And there's been pushback from the agents?
Huge in the beginning. Yeah, when we announced it in May, June that we were going to launch. I mean, Christoph knows there have been several initiatives in the past to stop Immoweb or to try to reduce the power of Immoweb in Belgium, and actually they announced that they were going to reactivate the association. And meanwhile, actually, the storm seems to have calmed down. So we are, just got the numbers yesterday, we are in this trial phase until the end of the year, but so far we've renewed 90% of those agents that participate. And we are already doubling the number of overall participants for January. So actually it seems to be working after a big moment of stress.
So there's noise, and then it's situation normal.
There's a very human reaction on a change.
Yep. So how do you ensure you get paid in this process?
We didn't get there yet. The process in Belgium is quite long, to 6 months. So the first invoices will go out probably in December or January. And then the relationship with those agents that have already signed a pre-sales agreement is very good, and they have, well, none of them have said not going to pay or conflicting.
But how I'm thinking a step before. I inquire, I want to book an appointment, I end up with the Immoweb call center, I book, you say Monday at 5 p.m, I can go look at the house, fantastic, the agent, they go. How do you know that person that the booking for ends up buying the physical property?
So the conseiller, so the person that's helping the owner to sell, will follow the process from A to Z. So he will be, they will be receiving SMS 24 hours before the appointment with the agent. He will have a call a week after all agents have visited the house. He will be gathering feedback that the person, he or she, will hand over again to the agents. How are they positioned? What was the reaction? And so on until the final contract is.
So you have to sort of, it's a bit of a manual job, which is why
very manual. Yeah, it's very manual. And actually we launched it quite entrepreneurial. It's and that's a nice thing within the group, that it's like great copy pasting in terms of modeling, but afterwards, you don't have all needed systems yet, so you are really still very creative in putting it onto the market. No,
I love that approach. It's elastic bands and chewing gum and trying to make the process work. Because if it works, write the code. Yeah. If it doesn't work, you've saved yourself the time. But 1,000 appointments is a good stepping stone.
It's a very good stepping stone.
And as you model this out, right, could this become a significant part of your revenues?
Yeah, by 25, 26, it must become it will, I'm expecting it to become a really important part of the revenues. We're estimating to reach about 1,000 mandates in 2024. So this is, which is still actually, the Belgian market is about 135,000 transactions a year. So it's still
less than
tiny.
1%.
Yeah, so, but still, it's only grows. We just started.
Okay. So then for me, the interesting next question, because you've got this sort of, you offer the service, but you're Immoweb, so you're sort of pushing it. You have the storm, you get through the storm, but now you've started to. It's now you're creating the psyche with the agents that it's okay to share part of my commission now.
Yeah, with all the participating agents, becoming normal now. There are still certain that are quite.
It's the process.
Worried, but it's the process, and I said it's very human to have this pushback reaction. They are now getting more confident. They are extremely pleased. It's all about the quality of the team. Yesterday, somebody mentioned that as well. That okay, you need to coach them. You need to be close to them. And yes, that team of 7 is very well surrounded. We're sending them to Paris to the Meilleurs Agents team for training, onboarding, then training. So we are recording most of the discussions, giving feedback, and it's all about humanizing this first contact and making sure we are supporting the agents. And yeah, we will get there.
Now we seem to be globally entering into a bit of a recession. Mm-hmm. Interest rates are going up. Mm-hmm. It maybe goes from a buyer's market to a seller's market. Do you think sellers' leads are going to be as important?
Yeah, we've been questioning ourselves for 6 months about that. Before launching, and actually it's not going to be that much easier for agents to get seller leads. So it's probably even going to remain as complex. So there might be fewer, but we are at the very beginning as well. So it might even be very good to start now, because the market situation in terms of getting seller leads for agents will be tough. Anyway, we can learn. We are starting at 0, so the growth will be there anyway. It's an investment case, yes, but we will be growing there. And once the market in maybe 2 years, 2.5 years switches again, we will be 100% ready and armed to serve the market at the right moment.
Can you flip that around to the buyer market, I guess? So buy side, monetizing that. So instead of monetizing seller leads, monetizing the buyer leads. It's
too early to have some concrete. Yes, there are very clear parallels. Where we discussed digitalizing in the beginning, the more we digitalize the process, the more we integrate with bank industry, with insurance companies for the rental part, the easier it will become to also send out qualified buyer leads and have a different business model for those. And again, the reaction will be the same. In the beginning, there will be a strong pushback, like, hey, you're taking part of my commission. Yes, but for a more added value part, and actually probably the right part from 100%, whereas with a post and pray listing, you don't know really what you're paying for. So actually, the model is more logic, but not there yet.
Okay. You talked about financial services just before. What have you done in that segment, and what have you learnt out of it?
So there's been a first partnership with a Belgian bank signed 3-4 years ago. It's proven to be complex in terms of growing the number of leads we are sending over, the conversion, the tracking of the conversion. So it's something that's still been running there, but it's putting into the fridge for the moment. On insurance part, it's more successful. Tenant insurances are really kind of growing on their own. You don't need to do that much, invest that much. It's working okay-ish, but actually within the old transformation within AVIV, there is a venture and incubators team which is really looking into the mortgage business for the coming 4 or 5 years. So actually we have said, okay, it's not our key focus for the moment. Let's look at it on AVIV level within all our markets. and we'll get back and plug into the new system once we have it in place.
You raise an interesting question, because being part of the AVIV Group gives you access to a whole bunch of other players who are doing similar things in other markets. How do you leverage that group for learnings to then apply to your business?
So AVIV is very new still, and so the average number of months the leadership team has been present is probably 8 months right now, or 10 months. And it's fascinating. So it's really fascinating how much we're already exchanging, how much since 1 year we are speaking with Meilleurs Agents, with Sologer, with Immoweb. We have created cross-border packages to help the agents finding buyer leads from across the country. We have copy-pasted the Meilleurs Agents model with Piet, implementing it. We, in France, Groupe Sologer made a small acquisition a couple of months ago called Plateau. Yeah? So it's an appointment management system plugged into the platforms, into the CRMs, into Outlook or Google Calendars from agents. We will be implementing that in Q2 next year, very likely.
This is for both buyer appointments and seller appointments?
Buyer, rental appointments, yeah. So a bit more for rent industry, but so it's daily, and we now have one common product initiative, product intake process. It's only about creating once and deploying 3 times. So nothing is being implemented for one single country anymore. It will be adapted. Yeah, the markets are a bit different, but the process is the same to 95%.
Okay, so let's go back to the Immoweb business. There's a question on top here, which is Belgium is obviously a country with very distinct regions.
Yes.
Okay. In your experience, are users and agents the same across the country, or are they different by region? And if so, how do you handle all these regional differences, but within the one business model?
Yeah. So Immoweb is structured on a very local way. So we have 18 salespeople. So is that a lot? Is that little? I mean, they're managing about 2,000 larger customers, and these salespeople are extremely regional. So every region's got a senior account manager. That person will be visiting the account managers. Customer service team is multilingual. Products are deployed on a multilingual way. So everything has got to be localized as much as possible. In terms of agents profiling, it's kind of the same throughout the country. The problematics are different, so the number of buyer leads you would get in one region are very different to another region. So the pains might be a bit different, but the overall process is the same.
Okay, and then if we go a little bit deeper into leads and lead management, to what extent, leads are being generated on the platform, they're being sent to the agents. Are you doing anything to those leads on the way through? Any attribution, any cleansing of the leads, any scoring of the leads, doing anything at all?
No, currently, unfortunately not. So yeah, it's on the agenda for the future, but currently it's massive. So the number of phone leads, so reveal phone number, or email leads on a daily basis, it's several 100,000. It's just incredible. So the day we will be able to start qualifying those better, with maybe a smartphone system, or also via email system, appointment systems, better integration with the CRMs, that's going to be a really nice evolution for us, but also for the agents. It's going to save a lot of time.
Okay, so we've talked a lot in the conference already about getting closer to the transaction or into the transaction itself. Some approach the primary space because it's less contentious with the agents. Some are in the rental space. At the moment, you're talking about in the seller lead space, which seems like a very good initiative and works very well in the market. what other opportunities do you see, not that you may do them, not to scare people, right, for getting closer to those much larger pools of revenue?
The rental is an interesting one. On the planning in the coming years, the entire mortgage topic is a really important one, but not as a standalone. So I believe what has happened in the past is very often like within Immoweb, new products were launched, new features were launched, new areas got tapped into. Working with architects, for example, additional service into to the building, the construction, the refurbishing, but every time outside of the Immoweb biotop, so outside of the core. And I think whatever we will be doing in the future must be fully integrated. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's a real pity to not use this incredible strength of a website having around 520, 530,000 visits on a daily basis. So whatever we will be doing must be embedded into the core website.
Okay. And then, do you know the difference in size of the pools of value between the advertising pool and the commission pool in Belgium?
Well, not by heart, yeah.
Is it
but
like?
It's interesting.
But that's something that I would encourage everyone to do, right? Is actually understand the various pools of value. A couple other questions that come up. One is how many appointments? And you don't have to answer these questions, right? These are questions, right? I'm just don't shoot the messenger. How many appointments does Celigier set per month with Milliers Agents, roughly? Is it a large number, or is it?
No. So the Celigier Milliers Agents pure data I haven't got here with me. Happy to discuss afterwards. It's all relatively transparent anyway. Going nicely, so.
Okay, so whoever asked that question, catch up with Piet afterwards. And do you still run the #1 CRM in Belgium?
Oh no, we don't own a CRM.
No.
Really.
Okay.
No.
So clearly you don't.
No.
So if we were to be sitting here, two questions. One is if we were sitting here in 5 years' time, and you're executing your plan, etc., how much of your revenue is sort of going to be coming from your current types of business, and how much is going to be from these new business ideas?
The plan is to get it down to about 55-60%, still on core, so still will continue growing, but all the additional services and product evolutions must grow much stronger. But if we are sitting here in 2026-7, it will still be, the major part will come from the classifieds core business part.
Okay. And the last question I want to ask is when you look for inspiration, right, and you're looking out there into the market and various things, what sort of, which businesses are you looking at? Probably let's say outside of the AVIV Group for argument's sake, and why are you looking at them? What are the things that you're doing, they're doing that's interesting? Doesn't mean you're going to do them, but you're looking for inspiration.
Yeah, we look a lot, and I use the we in terms of AVIV, at what's happening, of course, Silo, Wea in Australia, and then particularly as well, it very much depends whether you look at future growth or your core classifieds. I think one amazing reference remains Funda in the Netherlands, what they do in terms of core classifieds, social media, spreading the classifieds out there, that they remain an amazing reference. And if you look at future growth, you would go more cross-continental. On top of that, I truly believe, and I would advise everybody to continue looking at what job boards do, because they are further down in the digitalization.
Piet, thank you very much for sharing those wonderful insights around what you're doing at Immoweb and the future, and how you see the learnings from the employment industry and applying it to real estate. So thank you. Thank you for sharing this.
Thank you very much.
Excellent. Thank you. So we now come to a break.